This is What Happened This Week. Welcome. It is you'll hear this on a Wednesday. Hope everyone is well. I'm doing pretty well myself. Been chilling, editing, writing, podcasting, all the above. It's been great. This episode going to be talking about, as you can tell by the title, Kevin Durant's explosion against the Milwaukee Bucks. Going to touch on some NBA injuries / COVID protocol stuff as it, relates to the rest of the playoffs. And maybe there's a word or two in there about what's going on in baseball. As always, if you haven't already, please make sure you are following, liking, sharing, subscribing, rating, reviewing, all of that. Every single little bit helps, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, at plan_C_podcast. That's where we're at. We just appreciate it. And, it makes us feel nice. So thank you for that. Make sure you're listening to previous podcasts, whether it's our interview with the lawyers who are who are arguing for the Alston side of NCAA versus Alston, just try and get NCAA athletes paid. Or if it's, one of our lighter podcasts, make sure you check it out. Make sure, you listen, and I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, thank you very much for listening today. I'm going to get into it and not waste too much of your time. And I'll see you on the other side. Peace. And I'm back. What's going on? So, first topic, and what I'm probably going to spend most of my, a list of this podcast talking about, it's Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant against the Milwaukee Bucks, Game 5. No Kyrie Irving. Joe Harris has gone missing, seemingly. James Harden is a shell of himself. Nobody else is playing well, besides a couple people, of course. But Durant plays 48 minutes. 48 minutes, you heard that right. That is the full game. Kevin Durant plays the full game, scores 49 points. Yes, so he scored he scored basically 1 point a minute while he was out there. Didn't sit the entire game. 17 rebounds, 10 assists, 16 of 23. 4 for 9 from downtown, 13 of 16 from the floor, 2 blocks, 3 steals, only 3 turnovers, and 3 fouls. Now, if you want to talk about all-time individual performances, this is easily up there. This is so easily up there. I think of the games that I have watched in my lifetime. This is probably a top 3 performance in a non-overtime playoff game. So sorry, LeBron, 2018 Game 1. But this didn't go to overtime, and it didn't need to. The Nets, they came out. They were not looking good. I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, we really might lose to Milwaukee. But Nets made it to halftime. I think they were down. I think it was like 16. It was 16 at halftime, and they cut to inside. Well, it wasn't inside the NBA, but it was the guys doing the inside the NBA, and they're all like, yeah, Milwaukee's playing well, but they're doing stupid shit, and that was true. Charles Barkley made a great point where he said, I don't know why they're not just using their size, length, and athleticism and just going hard in the paint. It's kind of a fucking joke at this point, go hard in the paint. But it's so true. It's so true. You have all of this size. You have this size advantage. You have length advantage. You have athleticism on your side. You are a much healthier team, and they were not at all taking advantage. And so when the stuff that they were doing stopped working, their brains sort of just melted, and they were like, well, now what? And now what became starting to lose. And in the third quarter, the Nets outscored them by 10, and it didn't look good for them. You know, the Bucks were up 6 at that point, but I don't want to make a pun here, but Giannis literally looked like a deer in the headlights. And, you know, people will look at the box score and be like, but Colin, he had 34 and 12. Like, yeah, that's fine, but he wasn't taking over the game. And Milwaukee, oh man, they just look lost. And I know it's so easy to blame Budenholzer here, the coach of the Bucks, but at a certain point you have to look at rotations and be like, Kevin Durant is on fire. He is literally ripping Brook Lopez apart limb from limb. Why is he playing 36 minutes? Every single time down the court, Durant was hunting him. He was hunting him. It was so easy for him. He just called for a pick. The Bucks would it was barely even a switch because Lopez didn't want to come out. He's like, no, fuck that. I can't guard Durant. And Durant just set him on fire. And, you know, there's a lot to be said here. Whether, you know, you want to talk about the Bucks' execution or lack thereof down the stretch, or, you know, you want to talk about how, you know, Harden was pretty much just a distraction out there in terms of, you know, for the Bucks defense, because, you know, he's James Harden, you have to respect him. But he had no lift on his shots. His jumpers were all short. He had no explosiveness, attacking defenders, none of it. So I'm going to start with the Bucks here. I know I've already sort of started going into it, but if I'm a Bucks fan, I don't even know. I'm at a loss of words. I am apoplectic. I have had a coronary at this point if I'm a Bucks fan, because you are up big. The Nets look dead. They look dead to rights. And you can't close this one out. Like, you have a 2-time MVP. You have 2 players who are all NBA first team defense, and you can't close this out. It's laughable, to be honest. And I know, you know, you can say like, oh, you know, Durant, historic performance, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. The Nets aren't healthy. They don't have Kyrie Irving. They have like 1/3 of James Harden. It's laughable. It is absolutely laughable. Down the stretch, I really, again, just Giannis absolutely looked like a deer in the freaking headlights. He looked just scared. He looked scared to drive because I think he knew if he were to drive into the basket, he would get fouled. And I think there's a mental block on Giannis at this point where he does not want to shoot free throws. And, you know, I get it. You know, you don't want to do something that you're bad at, but at a certain point, like, there was one possession where Giannis was being guarded in the post by James Harden, who is on one leg, and Giannis is backing him down. There's over 10 seconds left on the shot clock, and Landry Shamet is about to come over for a double team, and James Harden waves him off. Because he knows that Giannis does not want to take that shot. He doesn't want to potentially get fouled and have to go to the line with all that pressure on his shoulders. So what does he do? He takes a fall-away jump shot. Are you kidding me? You have James Harden on you, who is on literally one leg, and you take a fall-away jump shot in... It was one of the most important possessions in the game. And he's taking a jump shot with somebody he could easily just put his head down, bully to the basket, and that's it. You know, you get an F for this, Giannis. I'm sorry. I love you as a player, but you get an F. It was atrocious down the stretch. All the Bucks were doing was just one-on-one. Nothing at all from what you saw. The ball movement in game 3 and 4. There was none of that. None of that. They would just give it to a certain player and be like, please help us. Please help us. Kevin Durant is putting a white hot poker in our eyes, and we need help. Another person, I'm sorry, but I gotta say something. Jrue Holiday. I know you had 19 points on 16 shots, but and you played great defense, but why is he guarding James Harden? What is the point? Harden can't get past anyone. Holiday's going to lock him up, but freaking Bryn Forbes or I don't even know, Pat Connaughton could have done that. Harden had no explosion, no lift, and you put arguably your best defender on him. And on the topic of defense, it is criminal. It is absolutely criminal that you have a defensive player of the year in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's not guarding Kevin Durant when Kevin Durant is he's burning down the arena. Fire is coming from all orifices in his body, and you choose to keep Chris Middleton and PJ Tucker on him. I'm not necessarily complaining because, the Nets won and I am a very, very big Nets fan, but PJ Tucker, yeah, he's been giving Durant, he's been making him work, but in a game where Durant is on and hitting what seemed like literally everything, you're not going to put... I can't really fathom it because, Durant's fall away jumper from the baseline or from the free throw line, that it's sort of like the sky hook it's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's sky hook, legitimately unstoppable. And the one person that I have ever seen block that shot is on your team and he's not defending him? Are you joking? Are you fucking joking? I would love to raise my voice right now. There's people upstairs, so I can't. But that is an affront to basketball. It is disgusting basketball from the Milwaukee Bucks. And if I'm a neutral fan and I'm just watching that game, the entire time I'm like, what the fuck? What is happening? How is this happening? A little bit more in the Milwaukee Bucks. It sort of just fell in love with the 3-point shot, it seemed, because they were hitting him in the beginning, and then it's sort of, it dried up, and that's the problem with 3-point shots. Sometimes they all fall, and it's amazing, and sometimes they don't, and you're shit out of luck. They fell in love with this shit so much that Giannis was, just pulling up from 3-point land and hitting. And it's like, dude, you're Giannis. You do not shoot the three. It's not even that he doesn't shoot it well. He shoots it terribly. He's terrible. And you have him pulling up. I mean, I know it's not necessarily a coach's choice here, but if you're a coach, you have to sit him down and say, Giannis, my guy, these are not good shots. What is happening? Last little bit on this, I need to praise Kevin Durant more. To score 49 points on 16 shots made. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know. It's insane. It's insane that the equivalent of that is literally hitting 16 threes. Yeah. Because 16 times 3 is 48, and he scored fucking 49. And that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it's not, he didn't even shoot it badly either. He took 23 attempts, and he still dropped the hammer on 49. It was one of the greatest playoff performances I've ever seen in my life, and I really, really, really I'm genuinely thankful I got to see it, because it's something that I wasn't expecting, and something that, I mean, it's not that, I don't know if wasn't expecting is maybe not the right phrase, just because, like, he's Kevin Durant, you know who he is. He's the bad
Next
man.
topic going to
be just doing a little bit on Chris Paul.
I was not
and
expecting
Kawhi Leonard,
that,
especially
very
when the Nets were
unfortunate
down
that
so bad. They are both potentially not going to be involved in the playoffs for the foreseeable future. Apparently, Chris Paul tested positive for coronavirus, and that's. This is why we get vaccinations, people. I'm not trying to shit on Paul specifically, because America hasn't exactly made it 100% easy. And, well, I'll take that back. State by state, it hasn't been incredibly easy. And I don't know. It really sucks for the Suns. Luckily, the Jazz and the Clippers are caught in a series that looks to potentially be going 7. So for the Suns, who swept the Nuggets off the court, I think it's fantastic, because now, as the longer that series goes, the more likely you're going to get Chris Paul back. And that's huge for the Suns team. He's their leader, both on offense and in the locker room. Oh my God, I had a burp. Excuse me. I'll cut that out. And, it's just incredible to me that I don't know. I thought we figured this out, guys. Like, come on. What are we doing? And also, just to mention that again, Kawhi Leonard being out is, man, if I'm a Clippers fan, it's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Apparently it was reported at first it was a knee sprain. Now it's apparently an ACL injury. I can't find any specifics that say, like, oh, he tore his ACL, because I don't think it's that way. Maybe it's an ACL sprain or something, but he's out indefinitely. And for the Clippers, it's horrible. It's horrible because, you go back to 2014, and every year since then, there's been some bullshit, or they've just completely choked. Whether, it's Game 5 versus OKC, 2014, 2015, they blew a 3-1 lead to the Rockets in the Josh Smith game. 2016, Chris Paul breaks his hand. 2017, Blake Griffin has a toe injury. 2019, they just ran into that buzzsaw of a Warriors team. 2020, blew the 3-1 lead to the Nuggets in the bubble. And then this year, it's Kawhi's knee injury. It just seems like this team is cursed. And, you feel horrible for Kawhi because he was playing really, really good basketball. And to see him now have to sit out, it sucks. It really, really, really sucks. So, I feel bad for Kawhi because, man just gets up, balls, doesn't say anything, and just, again, he's just picking up his lunch pail and going to work. You just got to respect it. Yeah, Kawhi, hope you're going to get better. Chris Paul, hope you're going to get better too. Both of these players make the playoffs just so much better. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens going forward. Last little bit of today. I know I went over because my Durant love. Anyway, so there's been this thing in the MLB, and I'm not sure what side I'm on it because it's confusing. So basically, there's a big scandal going around that all of these pitchers have been cheating, and, well, not cheating per se, but I mean, it depends who you talk to if they consider it cheating. So basically, they're using foreign substances to get better grips on the ball so that they can increase their spin rate. So you say, oh, Colin, what's spin rate? Basically, spin rate is the rotations per minute on the baseball as it's coming to the plate. And basically, if you have a higher RPM, is what they measure it by, rotations per minute. If you have a higher RPM, that means that you're going to have a more, the effect is going to be greater on the pitch itself, and it's going to be harder to hit. It's harder to hit a baseball, statistically, it's harder to hit a baseball with really high RPM than it is a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And that's crazy because, then one of the biggest scandals in MLB history, the steroid era, or whatever you want to call it, that is, these pitchers are getting a greater advantage than steroids, because steroids, it's pure strength. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, because, yes, I do love great pitching, and I think that great pitching has baseball in the place it is now, where, it's quote boring. Well, people depend. Baseball is always boring, and that's part of the reasons why I love it. But for the mass audience, that's not a great thing, because pitching, who wants to watch a fucking pitcher play catch with his catcher? No, nobody wants that. So it's interesting because you have reports coming out from people where it says, like, Garrett Cole, Yankees ace, Verlander, Astros ace, Trevor Bauer, all of these amazing pitchers, friggin' Felix Hernandez, all these pitchers have apparently been using foreign substances. And it's like, well, okay, you're getting all this really good production from these pitchers, but are they breaking the rules? And technically, according to the rule book, yes. But yeah, I still don't know how I feel about it, because it's not like it's so conflicting, because technically they are breaking the rules, but if everyone's doing it, it's sort of like the syndrome thing where, like, well, if everyone's a cheater, no one's a cheater type of shit. So I really don't know what is going to come of it. You've had some players get suspended with pay and other players not. I think, I don't know. We'll see what happens. The commissioner of the MLB, in my book, hasn't been amazing in terms of a track record of his suspensions and all that, and his disciplinary rulings, but we'll see what happens. And that's going to be it for What Happened This Week. Thank you so much for listening. Very much appreciated. I know I went long, so I'm going to keep this outro short. Make sure you are liking, following, subscribing, all of those good things, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, wherever it is, Breaker, Anchor, we're there. We want your feedback. We want you subscribed. We want you back for future episodes. So make sure you do that. Thank you very much again for listening. Make sure you're checking out previous podcasts as well. Keep your eyes out for podcasts in the future, because we've definitely got some coming up. And that's all from me. Hope y'all are having a great evening, day, night, dusk, and or dawn. And make sure you're getting your vaccination, kids. Don't want to miss those playoffs. Peace!